So 2017 for Star Wars fans, this was a very controversial year. That's why I don't think it was probably the best year for Star Wars, considering how much controversy that we had. But let's just get into what happened in 2017 for us Star Wars fans. At the beginning of the year, we got the title reveal for The Last Jedi. We were just coming out of 2016 with the depressing news of Carrie Fisher's passing. So I guess to kind of, make us seem a little happier, about a year away from the release of The Last Jedi, we got the title for The Last Jedi. And immediately, everyone was kind of like, okay, so Luke's probably going to die in this one. That was kind of new for everybody. And so then we got the new comics and the new Star Wars books. We got things like the Darth Maul comic books. We got the things like the Captain Phasma ones. We got the book for Captain Phasma, which wasn't really good. We got the Thrawn book, Inferno Squad book, the Empire's End on the Aftermath trilogy, which wasn't that bad, but wasn't that good. So overall, the books and the comics, well, they were okay. Thrawn was really good, but everything else was eh. Next up, we had Season 3 of Rebels came to an end. It started in 2016 and it's ending in 2017. And it was a solid season. It had some weird moments for us. A lot of people didn't like the Twin Sons episode of Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan. I made a video about that. That got a lot of praise and hate, and talking about the controversy that went behind that. A lot of people loved it. A lot of people hated it. We also learned about Rogue One, the deleted scenes that were never shown. A lot of people were mad at Gareth Edwards for not releasing them. He said that they weren't necessary and that they were very small scenes that weren't even, necessarily scenes in themselves. Next up, we had a big event for Star Wars fans, which was 2017's Star Wars Celebration. I actually went to that. I don't recommend going to it. It was in Florida. It was alright, just not much to do. We learned a lot of things there, though. That's where a lot of the year kind of kicked off. We had the Rebels Season 4 was announced as its last season. Even, the voice actors didn't even know about this. I forget, Dave Filoni came out and he talked about it, and he said that this will be the last season for Season 4 of Rebels. After that, they're done. Like, no more Star Wars Rebels. And then we also got Rebels Season 4 this year starting up. It's going to end in 2018. So Rebels Season 4 is still going on right now, but that season started. Also at Star Wars Celebration, we got the Battlefront 2 trailer. A lot of people were happy about that. It looked solid. It looked very good at the beginning stages. Everybody was really excited for the Battlefront 2 trailer. Then you got the Last Jedi trailer. It opened up with mixed feelings. It was mostly praise, but there was still a fair amount of people going, this seems a little off. I even remember being one of the few people that was like, I don't know if this looks so good. Then we got the Star Wars hotels. It's not a big thing, but I still want to talk about it because I actually think this is a great idea. In 2019, Disney World is supposed to have Star Wars hotels, Disney World and Disneyland. Most likely, I'm going to go stay at them at least once with my best friend, just because it's Star Wars and why not. And I just want to show you guys my experience with doing that. That sounds fun. We got the Han Solo director movies, or the directors for the Han Solo movie that's coming out in May. They were moved. I think it was Phil Lord and Chris Miller, if that's their name. I can't entirely remember. They had creative differences with Disney and Lucasfilm on what they want to do with the Han Solo film, so they got replaced with Ron Howard, and they did a lot of reshoots, immediately starting the controversy for this movie again. Right after that, we got the Forces of Destiny. That was a huge controversial moment in the community. A lot of people weren't fond of it. I made a video, got a lot of hate for it for some reason, because even I came out saying it's just for kids. I don't know why a lot of grown men are complaining about it, but whatever. Forces of Destiny came out. There was a small little mini-series on YouTube by the Star Wars channel about mainly female protagonists in the Star Wars universe. Then we got the kind of the big news for Netflix was Star Wars is actually going to leave Netflix in the future. I think their deal runs out in 2020 with Netflix, Disney's deal with them at least, because you have Rogue One on it, and you also have the Star Wars The Clone Wars show, which also had a lot of ups and downs on if it's leaving Netflix or not. So what we do know is that Disney's creating their own subscription-based movie service and TV service, or whatever they call it, like you see with Netflix, their own streaming service. There we go. And so Disney's creating their own. They're most likely going to have the Clone Wars on it and all the Star Wars movies, and they're also most likely going to have a new Star Wars live-action show on it that was not confirmed, but more or less announced that there is going to be a new one and that they're planning to have a live-action film or a live-action TV series. Then you also had Force Friday. Not a big thing. I don't even remember the date for it. I'm not a big fan of Force Friday, but Force Friday brings in a lot of money for Lucasfilm and Disney because a lot of people buy the toys that come out for the new movie. Force Friday wasn't that big in Rogue One, but it's big for the major films like Episode 7, 8, and 9. And so Force Friday was a huge deal. They made a lot of money off that, and a lot of people were really happy with what they bought. Then after that, we had the Episode 9 controversy. Colin Trevorrow, I believe is his name, he was removed from being director. He stepped down. He had creative differences with Lucasfilm and Disney on what he wanted the direction of Episode 9 to go in. And I'm actually really curious on how he would have taken things, considering how The Last Jedi ended. I really wish I could talk to him personally and just hear what his plans were, at least, considering it might be completely different than what we're going to see in Episode 9. Right after that, we got confirmed that J.J. Abrams is coming back to direct the new Star Wars film, Episode 9, ending the trilogy, and he's the one who started the trilogy. So we have that to look forward to and what's going to happen. Right after that, we also had a lot of controversy on Finn and Poe, if they were gay to characters or not. More or less confirmed that they weren't in Episode 9 or Episode 8 because Rose kissed Finn, and so that kind of died down the controversy, but John Boyega said he was open to the idea. There was a lot of talk about them being a gay couple, and that had a lot of backlash in the Star Wars community overall, and a lot of praise too. A lot of people were wanting that to happen. Then we also had some weird news coming out from Disney's side of things on what they were doing for Star Wars. They were bullying theaters, technically, and I think the deal's almost ended in about a week. It'll be over, but what they did is they said for every theater showing The Last Jedi, they had to have it in their biggest screening room for 4 weeks, which is a month, and you also had to give them, I think it's 60 to 65% of each ticket sale, and they're normally around like 50 or 55 or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. You'll have to watch my video on it. But basically, they're bullying theaters into making the Star Wars film, The Last Jedi, you know, up there. It's their top priority in terms of showing films in the theaters. And then right after that, you had the Critic Boycott, very small boycott that lasted a few days, against The Last Jedi because Disney was banning a certain news article or whatever, a news company, from seeing the Last Jedi early screening for, you know, reviewers and whatnot and critics. They banned them for making a more or less critical analysis on what Disney World was doing, or Disneyland was doing in California, Anaheim. Then, after that, you had the new trilogy announced. Rian Johnson was announced to create his own new Star Wars trilogy. Basically, they're giving this guy a lot of power in the Star Wars universe, and he's making his own trilogy. It's not confirmed if he's going to direct and write all of them. It is confirmed that he's going to write the story, more or less, the plot for the entire trilogy, but we do know he's directing the first one for sure, but we do not know if he's going to direct the next two after that in the trilogy. Then you have Battlefront 2. Battlefront 2 was released, I believe, November 17th, November 15th, if you got it early and whatnot, and it was nothing but controversial stuff. The last half, or the last few months of the year for 2017 was really bad for Star Wars, and this kind of started the downfall of it. Battlefront 2 came out, a lot of people liked it, a lot of people didn't like it, and it's proof that more people didn't like it than more people liked it, because the sales are completely down from what they expected and what they wanted. It was a very controversial game due to the microtransactions and lack of content that a lot of people wanted in it. And honestly, I haven't heard much about it since. I think they're letting mods in it now and whatnot. I'm not entirely sure. But, you know, the game's kind of already died out, in my opinion. You don't hear much about it anymore, except for the clickbait YouTube channels. So, then you have the flops for Battlefront 2. Kind of just already talked about that. And over the year, I put this at the end because it's more or less kind of confirmed now. The Kenobi movie, it's more or less confirmed at this point. It's, you know, we've had a lot of sources pointing to the direction that this movie is going to be coming out in 2020, and then the last news we got on it is that there's an inside source saying that they're going to start filming in 2019. So that does kind of, you know, go right towards the 2020 release date, but, you know, you never know. So it's different. We don't really know what's going to happen, but we're more or less confirming that the movie is going to happen. It's right around the perfect time for it. Sorry, my voice is a little cracked. The last news we basically had was The Last Jedi. This was the biggest event of the year, of course, because it's the new Star Wars movie. And wasn't the greatest ending for the year because it was a very controversial film. A lot of people loved it and a lot of people hated it. It's another 50-50 thing. And if it's controversial, I don't think it means that it's that good. And this is a film that proves it. The Last Jedi came out, I think the first day that came out, you know, you see all the reviews and a lot of them were very positive for it. And then, you know, a lot of other people, though, like me, when I went to see it, I wasn't very happy with it. I was very disappointed with the movie itself. And then you had a lot of other people saying it was actually really good. So you're in this weird moment with The Last Last Jedi, where is it going to be like, you know, The Force Awakens and Rogue One? As time goes on, we realize it might not be as good as we thought. Or is it going to be like the prequels, where as time goes on and the people that watched it when they were a kid grow up and go, it's not that bad, you know? So Last Jedi was very controversial. And the last slim bit of news that we have for the year, I think it was one of my last videos I made, was that Disney plans for the Han Solo film that's coming out in May to fail. They're already kind of preparing for it to be a complete flop in terms of sales and critical analysis and whatnot. And this was coming from an inside source of Disney, and it's not confirmed or anything, of course, by Disney. They would never want to openly admit that their film might fail, but apparently inside sources are saying that Disney is planning for a Han Solo film to fail. So that was basically everything I could think of for the year of Star Wars 2017. What do you guys think about 2017? Was it a good year? Was it a bad year? It was a very eventful year. I personally think it wasn't a great year because it was very controversial, and there's a lot of things that we really didn't want to happen that ended up happening, and a lot of fans, including myself, were very disappointed with how the year ended up, because all the big eventful things were nothing but controversies, and in some cases, just letdowns. But let's hope 2018 is going to be a better year. We're getting the Han Solo film, God help us, and we're getting some maybe new games. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention in 2017, Visceral Games was closed down. EA shut down Visceral Games, I believe what it was. They were making their own Star Wars game. It was supposed to be like Uncharted, but for Star Wars. That was canceled. Another disappointing thing for 2017. So let's pray that 2018 is just a better year. So comment your thoughts below. I'm Star Wars Only. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. What do you guys think about 2017 for Star Wars fans? And do you think 2018, the year we're in now, is going to be a better day or a better year, whatever you call it?